A Course in Miracles Workbook Lesson 286. This is one of the most sweet lessons in the whole book.
Yeah.
The hush of heaven holds my heart today. I think this is one of your faves.
It really is, yeah. One of the things that, to pick up part of what Michael was saying about this last step of bringing it to others, if we've cut off the love that's inside of us, if we've cut off the truth of who we are, and we're blocking that. So how does the Holy Spirit establish his presence of love within us and the presence of forgiveness and whatever miracles we need? Well, what he says is the Holy Spirit works through us to show us that he's in us. And so when we are able to bring this to others, like he said, if you just offer holiness, at some point you have to infer, I must be holy. And then that's the step back.
And it's, to me, it's not just an inference like a mental awareness. It's a feeling. It's like when we truly offer love to another person, we feel love ourselves.
That's it.
And God is love.
Yeah. And he's pretty clear about what the feeling is. It's a sense of self that's free.
Yeah.
Free of anything that's going to take away your joy, take away your peace, take away your sense of being lovable and loving. You're free of that. He describes that experience to us. That's why, we read the Course closely. We look at the words closely because there's so many gems in there.
Oh boy.
Right? That he just, like you could meditate for 100 years and in 5 minutes and find more in 5 minutes of reading the Course than trying to dig deep.
I don't know.
He's very, well, the point I'm making, he's very definitive about the experience of once we do these 3 steps, come to God, get yourself changed, bring it to somebody else. He's very descriptive, very definitive about what that means for you. The freedom, the peace, and the love. Now in this lesson today, this is a really good one to look at because it says something in there that you might have missed if you weren't reading carefully. So the explanation of this lesson, there's always a prayer and a title, and then there's an explanation. This is what this lesson's about. And what I want to do is I want to read this first sentence of how he's describing this hush of heaven that holds my heart.
Okay.
This experience of love, of being completely fulfilled. All your conflicts are healed. Everything you could ever want is already within you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And every choice is already made. So he's talking about timelessness in this lesson. And you can have that experience of timelessness in time.
Yeah.
So here's how he's describing it. The experience from this lesson, the stillness of today, will give us hope. Like hope is a good thing. Like, the world ends up being hopeless to satisfy us, but then don't give up hope. We have hope that we are going to discover love again, that we will succeed in being this lovable, loving person. So the stillness of today will give us the hope that we found the way.
I like that a lot.
We have found the way back to love.
And we know that we have when we really find the gratitude we have for this Course.
Yeah.
It's like we know this is the way back. There are other ways, but this is the way that's given to us.
Right. So that was the first thing. We found the way. But here's the kicker that goes with it. Not only have we found the way, we've traveled far along the way to a wholly certain goal. Yeah. He's telling us, acknowledge how far progress you've made in being a miracle worker, in being a loving person who do, like Michael said, start your day with God. Be willing to change.
Yeah.
Be willing to say, I'm not ready right now, but that's okay.
Yeah.
He's saying, if you grieve this, I'm not there enough. He said, you're giving strength to weakness.
Yeah, right.
Just be kind to yourself at that moment. And then know that with this confidence, I have found the way. I've traveled a long way down that road. Because the Course is telling us, you have power over everything in heaven and earth. There is nothing you cannot do.
I know, it's saying that. And I go from from this statement that we've traveled far along, I'm thinking about how at the very end of the text it says we're on the lawns of heaven. Mm-hmm. You know, we're on that I don't know, I imagine it as like a slope, and there's the pearly gates. It's just my picture, but it's like we're there. We know we've got the answer. The answer is forgiveness. The answer is the unconditional love of God that we have access to. Yep. For ourselves and for each other. Yep. And God is love. So forgiveness is undoing what's not loving.
That's it. It's the undoing part.
Yeah.
And this recognition that I've traveled far along the road is this idea that I do have the ability. Yeah. You know, we went back to the text study with some people. We started way back at the beginning there. And one of the big ideas that came out is this atonement. They say atonement, forgiveness, salvation. You know, they're kind of all healing. The same, but they have specific meanings. But he said the atonement, God's love that comes to you, it has to come in a form that you can recognize as loving. Yeah. Right? So look at what this says in this prayer. It says, all your conflicts have been resolved and healed. All of your desires have been fulfilled. All your choices have been made and succeeded in that. And so when the Course says the atonement has to come in a form that you can recognize, what it means is you do not have to be in conflict with the world, other people, or your own body.
Yeah. Or your own mind even.
You don't have to be in conflict with anything. And that's what he's saying. And that's the great peace that comes. Right. And that's the great power that he's slowly revealing to ourselves. Yeah. Because again, he's saying, you're scared of your freedom. You're scared of your power. You believe you actually used it to separate from love. So he slowly has to do this little thing. Just do this little act. Right. Just do this little thing. And you go, wow, I freed myself. Mm-hmm. Wow, I got my peace back. Yeah. There is nothing I cannot do.
That's what he says.
There is nothing that needs to oppose me. And he's saying that as this guy that was being tortured and finally murdered. And he said, even there, I did not interpret myself as being a victim.
And he came back to talk to people afterward.
Well, he's here.
Well, he's here in our minds. We haven't physically seen him, but boy, I've seen him in my mind, and you have too. Mm-hmm. And
everybody, most people have.
Throughout history.
Yeah. Yeah. They count on that presence.
Yes. That's right.
The model that's there. We don't talk a lot about, or I don't talk a lot about my relationship with Jesus, but the idea that there's this brother, this graduate student who's been through this, right? All the nuances, all the particularities, all the specifics of the problems they've been through it. Yeah. And they can model for us.
Yes.
And turn to the Holy Spirit within you.
Do you know, I want to cover something that you touched on, how this lesson is telling us that everything is already actually done. Mm-hmm. And there are two sections in the Course that really get into that. Yeah. The present memory and do you remember what the other one is called? I don't
Doesn't matter, but talk it up.
Okay, so the idea is that all of time happened like that. Yeah. Just boom. The whole thing. We had a thought, we as the Son of God, the emanation of God, had a thought of separation. And it had multiple aspects.
Yeah, many manifestations.
Billions of manifestations. But it was all done in a second.
That's right.
Tiny tick of time, it's called. And what we're doing now is we're watching the movie. It's like, like they used to say when maybe they still make movies in film, I don't know. But they would talk about the movie is in the can, right? The whole movie is in that metal can.
Right.
Well, the movie's in the can and we're back in heaven.
Right.
But we're just, hey, let's just watch it again. I mean, hey, let's suffer a little bit. Let's check it out. Because it was a dream of time.
It was, but we don't need to watch it I know you don't mean that, to watch it through suffering. Because here's what he says with this idea that it's already accomplished.
Yeah.
He said, you might think to the Holy Spirit, well, why don't you just make this all disappear then?
Right.
Why don't I just go back to the truth? And what he's saying is that it all happened at once.
Yeah.
Because you really could not leave God. That's what's impossible. You could never leave love. So love always had us.
Right.
It gave us all the answers that we need.
Yeah.
And he said, but now, so you might think, well, okay, why don't you just make this all disappear? Well, what he's saying is, if you just went back to the truth, this is kind of my inference with it, what's to prevent this from happening again? So we're going through time now.
Yeah.
In all these specific circumstances to show us we do not want to be separate from love.
Yeah.
We thought for an instant, hey, maybe that would be maybe that'll be neat.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be a good thing. And it was just one little mistake.
Yeah.
So now it's coming through. We're at moment to moment, we're realizing I do not want to be separate from love. I want to find a way. Yeah. And I have found a way.
Yeah.
And we've traveled a long way along it. And in this lesson, he's putting that in like absolute terms. Everything you need is with you right now.
Yeah.
Every conflict's been reduced.
Yeah.
Every choice has been made.
Yeah.
And so we're going through time, but we can go through time gently, at peace, knowing we're lovable, knowing that we're loving, and that others are. And this joy to share it with somebody.
Yeah. So the sharing between two people is the first thinning of the veil.
Good way to put it.
Like we're going to imagine that we're separate, individual, lonely, locked up beings until we let down some of our ego defenses and recognize another person is as lovable as God made them.
Yeah.
The other person is as valuable as God himself.
Yeah.
What? And if that's true of you, it's true of me.
Yep.
And this meat suit, this time machine that we've got going on is just not who we are.
Right.
And we begin to recognize that.
Yeah. I mean, what you said was that's the first, he's saying the definition of a teacher of God, teacher of love, demonstrator of healing, is the beginning of that is you see another's interests as not separate from you.
Right.
You care as much about another person as you care about your own welfare. And we know we do that.
Yeah.
We know that you look at a little baby, and you see the baby needs a diaper, whatever it needs, and I'm going to meet that need. I'm going to give that love to that person.
And wouldn't God do that for us? Yeah. He's changing our diapers all the time.
Right. So what we begin to see as, like we said, we bring this change to others, what we begin to see is that we have the same benefit. Whether we're forgiving somebody else or a sense of forgiving ourselves, it's the same value.
Yeah.
And then slowly on, we're going, we have shared interest. We must share a mind. We're sharing a thought, so we must be sharing a mind. If we're sharing a mind, we must be sharing a being. And then finally, the whole healed of the one Christ.
Yeah.
We return to that.
Yeah.
And everybody else comes with us.
Yeah. That's what Jesus said. When I think he said it in this book and he said it in that other book, the New Testament.
Yeah.
When I resurrected, you were with me. Mm-hmm. When I went to the Father, you were with me. Something like that. Yeah,
that's right. You were with me. And he said that in that fifth, what were you going to say?
I was going to jump to a slightly different topic.
Go for it.
Okay. So, what you were reading at the very beginning, the stillness of today will give us hope that we have found the way. And when you were reading that earlier, the image came to me of a wet blanket. It's like all of our judgments and negative feelings and thoughts, all of that is a wet blanket over the awareness of who we really are.
Wow.
Yeah. And hope is like, throw off that wet blanket. Step out into the sunlight.
Yeah.
You're loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says that in one of those lessons. He said, ask with hope, ask with desire.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that happens for us when, you know, we continually to look for a worldly solution to our problems, it'll never work.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we tend to do is kill desire. We tend to kill hope. And then we're just sort of on a low-grade depression to the thing. He said, no, increase your desire for this.
Yeah.
Ask with great desire. Ask with great hope. Because what you're saying then is, I believe in you, God. I believe in you, love.
So, you know, that whole spiritual trend of trying to kill desire is not the Course. The Course is asking us to redirect it from idols, which will never satisfy, to the love that is our total satisfaction and goal.
Right. And it's like, you know, it's like Michael was talking about watching cartoons, and the other day we were sharing some really great movies that have been out and stuff. And we recognize that's sort of a diversion.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's okay really, because we're joining, in a sense, we're joining with those characters, and we're learning something about ourselves.
Well, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Can we read slowly and thoughtfully and comment on the prayer itself today? It's so very, very beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
If you have the book, it's lesson 286.
Page 440 in the workbook.
In this version. The hush of heaven holds my heart today. Father, how still today. How quietly do all things fall in place. This is the day, today, this day is the day that has been chosen as the time in which I come to understand the lesson that there is no need that I do anything. We can put all our struggles aside.
Right on.
All of our have to do's, must do, need to, all of that pushing and shoving that we do to ourselves and other people, we can stop. This is like the image I have here is like a quiet pond, like a just quiet and reflective and beautiful, maybe a little fog raising from it, you know, maybe the birds, but quiet, tranquil.
So can I mention the place in the text where he really, really says this, I need do nothing?
Please
I used to think that was a metaphor. What do you mean I need do nothing? Trying to do nothing is doing something. What are you talking about? Right? But now he means it literally, that this really has happened already. You have everything you need. All the conflicts have been resolved.
Yeah.
Everything you could ever want. All you need to do is get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
And he literally means it. How much more restful could it be, like you just said, instead of struggling for it?
Yeah.
So in that I Need Do Nothing, chapter 18, section 7, he said, it's very appropriate to learn to be detached from worldly values, all of that, but you do not have to wait. As a course student, you do not have to wait until you're detached from your worldly natures to be able to perform miracles. Right? Because he said, I've given you the holy instant and the holy relationships, and you can perform the love and the miracles right now, despite the fact that you love the cookies or the movies or whatever it is.
Or even go back to frustration and anger in the next minute.
In the next minute.
The holy instant, this prayer today, it to me is like a really beautiful introduction to the holy instant.
Yeah.
And the holy instant is available anytime. And it's like we say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know what anything means. those are just different ways to introduce the holy instant to ourselves, where we stop.
Right, and that's where, when he's saying in here, this next one about all the conflicts have been resolved, he's in that I need do nothing thing. He's saying it doesn't matter that you still have worldly longings. That
Yes.
doesn't need to be a conflict for you. You can still be loving in this situation.
Yeah, and it's saying, so that section, I need do nothing.
Yeah.
It's in chapter 18. It ends with a paragraph that has like an image of a whirlwind or
like a hurricane.
A hurricane. And there's a still, quiet center there.
Yeah.
And it says, in that center, you will know what you need to do. And you'll be told. So what we generally do is we go to the craziness, to look for the answers or to look for the guidance.
Yeah.
What should I do? And that's not it. Go to the quiet place.
And specifically, he said there, you'll know what to do with your body.
Yeah.
Instead of using the body to identify yourself to its pleasures, its pains, its goals, its things, instead of that, you'll know how to use your body. How? To love others, to help others,
right?
To bring this change to others.
Right.
You will know how to do that because you've got it at that moment.
Right. Let's continue with reading this prayer.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought those things up.
Yeah.
In you, Father, is every choice already made. And that's because if we choose against God, it's nothing. It's not real.
Right.
It hasn't happened. Only the choices for love are real. In you has every conflict been resolved. In you is everything I hope to find already given me.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything we hope to find. Most of the time we focus on the thing that's going to bring us an experience.
Yeah.
He's giving us the experience itself.
That is a really good way to say it. In fact, he says that about prayer. It's not really the thing.
Yeah.
It's the experience behind it. And it's not even really that. It's the way that experience defines who you think you are.
Okay.
That's the real prayer. What will I be?
So this line, in you, everything I hope to find is already given me, is saying all the love of the universe, all the joy, all the fulfillment is already ours.
Yeah, already there.
Your peace is mine. The peace of God is our one goal.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite lessons.
Yep.
My heart is quiet and my mind at rest. That's the line I was using this morning in my meditation.
So notice that how there's no conflict between the heart and the mind.
No.
There's no conflict between thought and the feelings that come from the heart. But he's saying, your heart is quiet. Why is my heart quiet? Everything's been given to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to strive and struggle for it.
Right.
So my heart is quiet.
Yeah.
And my mind is resting
Yeah.
from trying to figure out how to get my needs met.
You're right. Yeah.
My quiet heart, and I just let that in.
Yeah.
Rather than fighting for it.
Yeah. In that tranquil pond, we can see down deep.
Yeah.
We see the stones down there, 8 feet down.
Yeah.
See the little fish. The metaphor here is we can see what God wishes for us. We can see the blessings that are in us already when the surface is quiet.
You know, you're so wise, dear. You just explained basic meditation theory. No. You said basic. You have inherited tendencies, some scars, and tendencies within you to be and act a certain way. And they're like waves. They're like waves, and you can't see the bottom of the ocean because of the waves. So you still those waves, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can see what's there.
Yeah, that's right. Your love is heaven, and your love is mine. The hush of heaven holds my heart today. So I'm really really glad we had a chance to do this with Edenshire today.
So notice how he's building on what he's done in so many of these lessons recently. Because this is true of you, God, it's true of me.
Mm-hmm.
Your holiness is my holiness.
Uh-huh.
Your joy is my joy.
Uh-huh.
It would have to be that way.
Right.
And if I think of myself as bound, if I think of myself as sinful or wrong, that's how I'm thinking about God. And it can't be true.
Can't be true. Must be a mistake. That's what the Course is asking us to do. This is a big thing that the Course is asking us to do, is to claim what's true is true, and to recognize what's false is false, and stop believing in it and stop acting on it. So what's false is, this thing made me feel a certain way.
Right.
You made me mad. The virus makes me depressed.
You ain't giving me my love.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. All of that belief that the outer world is determining my state of joy.
Yeah.
That is false. And we are loaded with it because we think that, just watch your thoughts and you'll see. We do it all day long.
Yeah.
But what he's asking us to do is to discern what's really true. Is we have everything.
Yeah.
We have all the love, all the joy, all the being taken care of, all the confidence, everything that's a quality of God.
Yeah.
We have it. So the belief that the outer world is making me think or feel or act a particular way is the same as the belief that 2 + 2 = 3. Everybody believes, everybody knows 2 + 2 = 3. And they're acting on it all the time. And the whole world is based on that. And we go to our devices and catch the news, which are saying, be careful, 2 + 2 = 3.
Yeah.
All the time. The hush of heaven has got the truth for us.
Yeah. So we should be done pretty quick, but as long as we had a couple extra minutes, next Thursday we'll talk more about the Holy Spirit because we'll still be in this section. So what is it that will motivate us? Is saying in this, what is the Holy Spirit, which is part of the practice here. So what is going to motivate us to turn away from conflict, to turn away from the troubles that seem unresolved, to try and seek for something that we know probably will not satisfy us, and just accept well, here's what he says will motivate us in what is the Holy Spirit. It says, if you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, your holiness, if you knew how much love wants you to recognize how loving you are, you would not wait. Because it's not just our strength. It's the strength of God. Yeah. It's the strength of the Creator that's saying, choose again, try it again.
Yeah.